taking time out with Premier Sports Officials Association. Sean Johnston here, bringing you an umpire training tape over observations. This year, whether it's my local association, Premier Sports, through our UIC program, it's myself and other fellow state observers for the NSAA high school, or myself and my crew chiefs that I assign in the North Star Great Plains Athletic Conference and the Iowa JUCO ICCAC. Our big focus is going to be umpire observations. And there are different types of observations. There's the mentor observation. In sports officiating, as we are moving up, we want to pull somebody with us, and we have to have somebody above us to help us continue to move up. So there are mentor observations. UIC observations, that is the umpire-in-chief over a large sports complex, or at the college level, those are my crew chiefs. They're assigned crew chiefs, and I expect them to give the umpires, new umpires in college, observation feedback, as well as passing that feedback to myself. New umpire. It could be new umpire in select baseball, a new high school umpire, a new college umpire. Every level that umpires move up, there is new information, new expectations to share. Advancement observation. This is for umpires saying, I want to work Division I baseball. I want to work JUCO NAI baseball. I want to work high school. I want to work select. All right, so now myself, a crew chief, or a UIC is going to go out, watch that umpire work, and let them know what they need to do to advance. And then accountability. This is where coaches come in. Coaches ask, what can we do to help get umpires better? And it's taking the observations that you see as a coach, providing the feedback to myself as a supervisor, so I could then share the information from a supervisor to umpire way. So it's the accountability where coaches have a voice of, yes, this umpire is doing superlative and this umpire is doing fair, and we expect better. We have created an observation form, which I'm going to share with you here after going over the categories, areas, and how we expect coaches, myself, crew chiefs, and UICs to grade it. We broke it down to 4 areas: professionalism, communication, judgment, mechanics. If an umpire does not meet the standard at that level, they would get a 1, poor. If they are doing the requirements but not doing it correctly, they would get a 2, fair. If they're doing the requirements, doing it correctly, but just not at a specific level that they're capable of, it would be a 3, good. And then we move to the 4. They're doing the requirements, they're doing it in a great job, but what's going to be the difference between great and excellent? Very small items. And then superlative is the top 10% of umpiring at that level. So currently I believe there's 200 umpires in the NSAA. Only 20 umpires are going to be superlative in the NSAA. I myself, as a college supervisor, is asked, give me your top 2 or 3 umpires on your whole entire staff for National World Series tournaments. That's 2 umpires on the whole entire staff. So I have to take a look at these 4 categories and who is superlative, who stands out more than anybody else on staff. So this is our umpire observation form. So we ask who is doing the observation. Give the date, give the time, give the location, give the level of play, give the position, plate or base. So we talk about the first category, professionalism, on time, uniform equipment. Not only do they have it, are they wearing it properly, and does it look good on their body? Overall appearance. Are they groomed well? Engagement through observation. Are they engaged in the game in a positive way? And it's a simple 1 poor, 6 superlative. And if there's examples of why they were poor, we want examples. If there's examples of superlative, we want examples. And I encourage them, if they're good, that's not bad, but we have to provide umpires. What can they do differently to move from a 3 good to a 4 great? Next one, communication, voice and signals, body language, verbal communications with coaches, players, and partners, tone of voice, proximity, the facial expressions we give, and then pre-pitch signals. That pre-pitch signal really sends the engagement and involvement and focus they have in the game. Once again, 1, examples of how it is poor, 3, examples of how they can move to a 4 great, and then 6, what are they doing that other umpires they've seen all year not do to stick out? Judgment, timing, timing of when they say ball or strike versus when the catcher catches the ball. Timing in the field, are they waiting for voluntary release or control of the fielder? Judgment of calls, was the calls correct or incorrect? Consistency of strike zone. All right, we're looking for examples of either areas of the strike zone they're too big, area of the strike zones they're too small, or egregious pitches outside the buffer zone called incorrectly. Because if we have that information, we then can now supply it to the umpire to take a look at game film. You got feedback that your outside corner is too big, inside corner is just right. It's probably a mechanical flaw. Let's find the mechanic so we see the inside and the outside exactly the same way. Mechanics, proper starting positions, A, B, C. After the ball is hit, are we moving to get angle over distance, especially in 2-person? And then as that play develops, are we getting into position the best we can for 2 different plays or 1 important play? And then we ask for the overall observation. So from a 1 to 6, all right, superlative umpire overall, this is a top umpire in the whole entire staff. A poor umpire typically is somebody that is at a level they should not be at, but it's that information to hold the umpire accountable so we could give them information to get better. We allow people to add video, whether they're using the phone as an observer or coach, which we'll get into here with live streams, could clip out and add. So when that observation is filed and reviewed and shared with the umpire, they can also view the video to go with the comments. So some picture of examples of professionalism. Plate umpire, have all the required uniform, wearing it correctly. Base umpire, all the proper uniform, wearing it correctly. All right, and the body language is that demeanor in between innings, in between pitches. And then the off-field responsibilities, a lot of times it comes from crew chiefs. Were they on time? Did they communicate back via text, phone call, or email? Did they leave the locker room cleaner than what it was before they got there? A lot of things that could be shared with the professionalism part of the observation form. Communication, signals. All right, infield fly signal properly used, safe signal properly used, voice. Tougher the play, the more voice is needed. That intensity of the play matches the intensity of the call. Warning unsporting behavior. All right, whether it be ball strike, arguing a judgment call, bench jockeying, an umpire's not to yell and scream, but in a calm voice manner, warn the team about the expected behavior, and if it continues, they're at risk of ejecting themselves, and then writing it down on a lineup card. Consistency with strike zone, judgment. All right, we have getting the calls right. when it comes to force play, tag plays, application of rules correctly, substitutions, awarding bases, balk calls, and then enforcing safety rules, our players and equipment in the dugout, our coaches on buckets inside the dugout. We have a picture here. I will tell you, in the first 3 weeks of observations, if you take a look at this catcher's mask, typically the catcher's mask is entirely inside a batter's strike zone. And many times I've observed that catcher catching it at their mask or right at top of their mask, and we have a ball call. We have to do our work early. If there's any part of the strike zone early in the year observed, it is catchers catching it at their mask and us umpires calling it a ball. We need high strikes. Mechanics. Plate. Are you working the slot? Are you being able to see the whole entire strike zone? Base umpires. A, nobody on base. B, first base only, first and third. C, all other positions. Movement around the field. Are we using the whole entire working area? And then rotations. Home plate umpire is covering third base when they, ball and runner, are coming. Are we splitting the responsibilities of fly balls correctly? Right field, left fielder going to the fair foul line. Home plate umpire, that's your call, because you can do the catch, no catch, and fair foul. Anything in the middle, base umpire has. Is the other umpire watching the touches on the bases? So how is this information going to be shared? Whether the coach fills out a Google form, a crew chief fills out the Google form, a UIC fills out the Google form, it's put into a Google sheet. I myself am going to review it, and then I myself am going to send the information to the umpire that needs the information of saying, hey, you're doing a great job. Hey, you're doing a good job. These are examples of what you can do to move from good to great. Or, hey, you're doing a fair job. We need you to do this at a higher level to continue getting games and or wanting games at the next level. So what I have here is examples of live streams from last week of I will be talking while observing to give umpires and coaches and crew chiefs an example of what is going on while an observer is watching an umpire. So observation there, it's one pitch, but the umpire was standing up, and when the pitcher was about to deliver the pitch, got in the slot, got down, locked in once that pitcher lifted his leg. So now I'm looking for consistency. Is this umpire going to be doing the same rhythm every single time? Are they getting their head in the same spot every single time? Get set, call it. Does a great job of staying down in his stance when he was calling ball. He did not call ball right away. I could tell that because he stayed locked in the whole entire time. So this is good rhythm. So a small observation there. That ball versus the previous pitch ball. He came up differently. All right, almost looked like he was going to come up and call a strike. So though judgment was correct, it was a mechanic that could lead to future problems. So the feedback there was always stay in your stance and stay ball, whether it's an easy ball or a close ball. Make all your ball calls exactly the same. So now here, I would give feedback. I'm going to go back a few seconds. So feedback here, base umpire jogged in from A position to B position. That's exactly what we would like. So again, good job jogging in, not walking in. Now home plate umpire coming out, pre-pitch signal, rotation at third base, base umpire mirroring it. That is a good job pre-pitch communication among the partnering crew. Base umpires in proper spot, B position, starting the pitch clock. Started the pitch clock once again. Umpires understand that this type of observation is seen not only by observers like myself and supervisors, but coaches. Coaches are watching our body language, watching that pitch clock. Because in the dugout, they typically assign somebody to start it when the umpire goes to their pitch clock. Continuing the observation here, base umpire standing straight up and then gets locked in when that pitcher comes to a set. That is showing engagement. Well done. All right, so this are a bunch of small observations. And if you're new to college, you might not know all these bits of information. And that's the purpose of not only training videos like this, but getting that feedback from crew chiefs, guys who've been in college baseball for years. Feedback from me as a supervisor. Coaches who've been coaching college baseball for 10, 15, 20 years. We only know what we know. So take this training tape not as an insult at all, but provide bits of information of what people are observing and what are the expectations of umpires at certain levels, and how can I look like an umpire at that level. Another good example of infield fly, possible rotation, and the base umpire is in proper position pre-pitch in the C position. So that's a perfect example of reacting to a play. So this would go towards the superlative level of umpiring. Let's take a look one more time. So we have first and second, and it's going to be a pitch in the dirt. The base umpire is going to have two potential plays. Is he reacting properly? He comes straight forward, not towards third, not towards second, straight forward in the working area. So he gets in a position, no matter where that catcher throws it, he has the angle and distance for both plays. Once the catcher commits to second base, he now works back towards that play, all while remaining in the working area. So that was a superlative example of mechanics, movement, while the play develops. That was our first strike call. Timing was same as ball. Very good. All right, that would be excellent mechanic. The ball timing and strike timing is the same, which is what we are looking for as an umpire. So now let's take a look at another game. And now we're going to talk about our in-between action clock observation. So this is the end of a half inning. Defense is moving off the field. Base umpire, you want to start your action clock, and when you do start your action clock, raise your hand and keep your hand in the air for 2 to 5 seconds so both dugouts and press box now know the action clock has started. We're going to take a look at the timestamp. 4 hours, 13 minutes, 54 seconds. We're going to give a couple extra seconds to allow the defense to get off the field, work their way off the field, and the new defense to come on the field. So how we go to our positions is important. The difference between good and superlative. We have opposing players that will be crossing paths here. So base umpire, no reason to go to the outfield yet. Stay there until all crossing players from opposing teams have crossed each other. So this is sort of that dead ball umpiring. Don't go to the outfield spot till there is no chance whatsoever of something said between opponents. So all this time, action clock is going. We're going to fast forward it here a little bit. The pitcher has not thrown a pitch yet. This is when a home plate umpire could use preventive umpiring. I would remind these players, you only have 150 seconds to throw as many pitches as you want. This meeting is all part of that 150-second warm-up, right? Remind the players about that. Good job waving to the press box. Good job of them pointing to the pitcher. We now know that we have a new pitcher. However, small thing, we should never have our mask, hat, or anything on the ground. All right? Have that mask on the side. Always have your hat on and mask off the ground. Base umpire is moving to his position. We should be communicating here when there was 30 seconds left, when there was 15 seconds left. If we communicate throughout this whole entire process, we are going to avoid this situation that is going to be happening here now that the action clock has expired. Action clock has expired. Batter is not in the batter's box because we didn't even let the batter know that it was expiring. Pitcher's confused. Catcher's confused. We are going to properly put one ball to the count because of the action clock. Here comes the head coach. The head coach cannot argue about the action clock and this ball award. We are now getting together as a crew. From an observation standpoint, from professionalism, from mechanics, from judgment, we are not meeting the college standard. We should have raised our hand so everybody knew there was 150 seconds. We should have prevented the catcher from talking to the pitcher. And when there was 30 seconds left, base umpire, you should communicate it with your partner, the catcher, the pitcher, the first baseman, and hold your hand out to the side with 15. At that point, we need to get everybody ready to play baseball. If they don't take those preemptive measures, then yes, award the ball, but we should do it without any confusion. People were confused why a ball was awarded. If we communicate and we do the mechanics, we're going to avoid that confusion. So we'll take a look at a couple more batters in this game when it comes to what we are seeing and observing and how we could give it to umpires to improve. So good timing on the strike call. Strike and no swing. We have a strike and a voice. We got feet reset in between pitches. Time. Small observation. Do not point to first base with your right hand. Yes, this time there was not a check swing. But if we use our right hand on a check swing and a pitch hits the batter, you're asking your umpire, your partner, did he swing? So you have to be more clear with the signals that you have a hit by pitch, award first base, and it can't be anything connected to another signal that you could use in a different situation, such as a check swing or a strike with your right hand. So small items while observing umpires. This is what I'm going to challenge all umpires watching this video. Find a way to watch yourself on film like we are doing right now and observe yourself. Observe your professional appearance. Observe your pre-pitch signals, your pre-pitch positioning, and the movement when the ball is hit like it was there. Are we jogging when we need to jog? Or are we walking too much? And then take a look at your judgment. Is your strike zone consistent? And then the communication. Does our signals look clear and crisp? Can they be confusing in different situations? Can I look better than what I'm already doing when it comes to communication signals? Thank you for taking time out to review the 4 areas and categories of what we will be observing umpires in when it comes to professionalism, communication, mechanics, and judgment. When you are given feedback from a crew chief, from myself as a supervisor, from a mentor, from a coach, please understand the feedback is given to you not to criticize, not to put you down, but actually to build you up and continue the growth and development as an umpire. If we all partake in this process and we embrace it, we are all going to raise to the next level of umpiring. Umpires, remember, you're only as good as your last call.